Hey, what's up YouTube? This is a Jeepo vlog today. Say hi. Hey. So I'm really hoping that I'm not going to give you a clickbaity title today, but I guess we'll find out as the day goes on. We're on our way up to look at another motorcycle. That's right. Because I think every man deserves two motorcycles. You don't think so? No, I'll explain a little bit more. If I do end up picking it up, I'll explain a little bit more why. I think if you've been around the channel for a little while, you probably already get it. I'm not doing anything with a Bollywood Bruiser. I'm not selling it, trading it. I love it. I've said it to her, to everybody I know. Literally my favorite motorcycle I have ever had. But it doesn't serve every purpose that I wanted to serve, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later. For now, I do want to thank everybody. So far, I've got, I think, 1,530 subscribers as of this morning. My last few videos have kind of tanked a little bit, so clearly that's not what you guys want. I don't know what you want. I just put shit out there, and if you like it, it's a surprise to me. I'm sure there's some kind of methodology of figuring out exactly what to put out there that people are going to watch. But if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out, helps me grow. Anyway, we'll see you down the road.
One hour later.
Whew, I'm hot. Oh boy, oh boy. What the hell did I just do? Can you blame me though? I mean, really? So this first little ride here back to the house will be the first time. We'll give it a little bit of a break in, I guess. About 30 miles. Oh God, I'm already scraping the pegs. Oh, I'll tell you one thing that is nice is that I don't have to have my helmet visor down because this windscreen is pretty much blocking all the wind. Speedometer doesn't work, which means the tachometer doesn't work. So this is something, you know, I told my wife. First off, I want to give a shout out to Shade Tree Surgeon for even putting a motorcycle like this on my radar. But I told my wife, so let me back up. Let's talk a little bit about why it is I want something like this and why the Royal Enfield isn't quite enough. I love my Royal Enfield. It is literally my favorite motorcycle I've ever owned. I can't stress that enough. I really can't. But sometimes if I want to get out on the freeway, you know, high moving traffic, I'm not really all that comfortable on that thing. It's, I don't know. Maybe because I'm used to these big bikes like this, but, you know, some guys are talking about riding to Atlanta or, you know, this place and that place. And there's not a chance in hell that I would ride my Royal Enfield, you know, those long distances like that. Just not going to happen. So I told my wife a couple of months ago that I wanted to find an old Goldwing, something around $2,000, that I wouldn't feel guilty about not riding all the time. That was another thing about my Harley. Yes, I owned it, but because it was such an expensive, nice motorcycle, and I didn't ride it all the time, it became an object of contention. Where, you know, why aren't you riding your motorcycle? You know, blah, blah, blah. And I put that same amount of pressure on myself. You know, one of the reasons why I don't put out videos twice a week, every week, is for the exact same reason I didn't always ride that. The summertime, maybe I'm a little bitch. I don't care what you say. I just not comfortable riding in thunderstorms. I don't mind the rain. We'll get on down the road and then, yeah, we'll do a nice little tour around the motorcycle. We'll see you down the road. Oh boy. So far, I really like this thing, man. It's hard to find neutral sometimes, unless you're kind of moving when you put it in neutral. But that's exactly how my road glide behaved, finding neutral, unless you were rolling a little bit. That is until you change the oil in the primary, and then it would slip right in. But I definitely want the speedometer and the coolant temperature gauge fixed. I'm used to running with air-cooled motorcycles, so this is the first time working with a water-cooled. And when you're looking at older older engines that are water-cooled, the temperature is something that you really need to keep an eye on. Or at least I always feel more comfortable knowing that I can keep an eye on that. Every older car that I've ever had that had problems, the problem stemmed from overheating. Without being able to monitor, I have no idea if we're overheating or not. It doesn't look like there's a light for...
There's nothing to cancel.
Okay. This guy likes the motorcycle, man. It feels like it's running great. I don't know when the odometer stopped working. I mean, whenever the speedometer stopped working, I guess, but it's hard to say how many miles it has. But given the overall physical condition of like a lot of the body parts, I'm doubting that it's anywhere near 37,000. I mean, it's possible. It's absolutely possible if somebody left it outside all the time. But will I immediately get on it and ride long distance on it? Nope. Hell no. I don't know enough about this motorcycle yet to know if I can do that. I will say that the engine being right next to my legs with shorts on is fucking hot, man. I don't think it's overheating. You just got a lot of combustion going on in there. I also have no idea where I'm going to keep this thing. My garage is a single car garage with my Royal Enfield in the garage. If I tried to put this in, I'd be completely out of room. My Royal Enfield will be staying in the garage. I love that motorcycle. I don't know if I said this earlier on the other footage or not, but you would have asked me a year ago, or 10 years ago, or 15 years ago, if I would have seen myself on a 1985 Honda Goldwing, I would have laughed at you. And I would have been sincere about laughing. I was stuck in that belief system that if it ain't a Harley, it's not worth having. And I'm so happy that, and again, like I mentioned in earlier, very earlier videos, again, I've ridden other motorcycles. I've had other motorcycles in the past. But once I got my first Harley, that was it. To me, there was no going back. And I was one of those people who kind of gave you a little side eye if you didn't have a Harley. And now, am I embarrassed about it? No, but I wish I hadn't have taken that approach. But it's something, this past year or so, just opening my eyes to this other motorcycle things in general. Man, I don't know. It just makes the whole thing neat to me. Like, I passed up all these years of other motorcycles just to say I had a Harley. And like I mentioned on somebody else's video recently, one of the big things I don't like about Harley is go to a bike night. Go hang out at one of these events. And it's all the same, man. Everybody's got the same motorcycle. Don't get me wrong, man. I love a Harley Davidson, and I would ride a Harley Davidson if I had one. But this is different. My Royal Enfield is different. This thing needs a lot of TLC, and we're gonna get to that. So we'll just enjoy what we have here on this trip, and then we'll see you. We'll see you back. I got my legs open so I can blow some wind up to my nuts. My nuts. We'll see you in there.
Alright, so after that ride home, man, I feel ridiculous. I really do. But this is exactly what I said I was going to do. I said I was going to get a relatively inexpensive, older bike that I could ride long distance with. I don't feel like this is something that I can ride long distance with quite yet. I want to make sure I break it in, get some miles, give it a good look over, just make sure it's good to go. The last thing I want to do is get out on the road somewhere long distance and just be screwed. But man, for the first and only time in my life, I've got 2 motorcycles. So I don't know, like I said, what the hell I want to do with both of them. But let's take a look at it real quick. Look, both my motorcycles. What a beautiful sight, man. Again, I could put it right here, I guess, but literally no room if I do that. So let's take a quick look at the Goldwing. 1985 GL 1200 Aspencade. I feel like it was left outside, and that's why it looks the way it does. I don't think this is road wear. I really don't. You can see it's got some rust in some of these places on the exhaust, on these engine guards, some of these bolts up here. I mean, structurally it's probably fine. A lot of that surface rust I can get off. The shocks, the outside of the shocks have some rust on them. You know, the back of it, it's worn right here. Some rust there. So there's some work that needs to go into it, but honestly, I'm not really all that concerned with the way this looks. These, yeah, I'd like to get tightened up a little bit. I think these are cup holders. I'm not really sure what that is. You got some rust back here, but I mean, overall, like I said, these parts, they look fine. Doesn't look like a whole lot of rust on there at all. As we saw in the GoPro video, the speedometer doesn't work and the temperature gauge doesn't work. Those are the first 2 things that I want to figure out. I don't know what all this is. I really don't. I have no idea. I don't know what that is. I have literally no idea what a lot of these things are. But we're going to learn it. We're going to learn it together and do it like I always do. Like, what is this? I don't know what that is. What was that supposed to be? Where's the mirror control? This mirror's fine. That one's not. Some of these things, you know, this is loose. Why is that loose? I'm sure I could find some sort of replacement for that or something. Tachometer seems to work just fine. Honestly, guys, I think it was a good find for what I paid for it. And yeah, it wasn't really very much. So the 2 things that really bother me on the way home was the pedals. The gear shift is here, and I feel like my foot, I don't know, I'm riding out here with my feet out here, and to come in, I miss the gear shift a lot. And the same thing on the other side. The brake pedal just doesn't feel natural. Like I'm riding out here, and I have to come back in and over. I don't know, I felt like I was having to look down to find the pedals too often on the way home. But so anyway, man, what bike do I want to have in the background of this shot? I think that's going to do it for this episode. But anyway, I appreciate you coming along. And until next time, we'll see you later.